People are afraid of guns, I think, because they're not familiar with them. Maybe they've never fired one and all the rest. So, what is a healthy way to view a firearm?
I've always told people that a firearm is no different from any other tool that is commonly owned by a wide number of people across the country. No different than an automobile, a lawnmower, snowblower, or let's say fertilizer. I mean, anything that you can come into contact with can have some negative outcomes if you haven't at least familiarized with some fundamental safety associated with that thing. And I'm here to tell you that firearms are no different. If you know and follow some very fundamental rules with regards to firearms, nothing negative or adverse can happen.
Amen. Kevin De Leon there clearly has no idea what he's talking about. You do. So if you don't mind, can you show us through the parts of some of these guns so that we know what's going on? And maybe I can start with his misunderstanding of magazine versus a clip.
Yeah, that's one that, obviously causes a lot of confusion amongst a lot of people, the nomenclature of the parts. I'm going to demonstrate a semi-automatic pistol. This is a handgun manufactured by Glock. It's a Model 19. It's a 9 millimeter caliber. This particular handgun, the style of a handgun, has a magazine detach button here. And if I press it, of course, the firearm is in my direction that I deem to be safe given the environment in which I am. And by safe, I mean that if this gun was to somehow be loaded and I managed to discharge it, that bullet, that projectile wouldn't damage any property or otherwise cause a negative outcome. But I would press the magazine detach button here. I'm going to press this button while the gun is in my deemed safe direction. And once I do that, I can easily remove the magazine in a semi-automatic pistol. And this is the ammunition source for a semi-automatic handgun. And what I would do is I would load in the individual rounds of ammunition, known as cartridges, into the magazine until it was full. And then I would load, of course, the loaded magazine into my handgun, which is in a safe direction. And what I could do is charge the firearm, that is to pull the slide and to load a round into the chamber and make it fully available for discharging and firing.
Is there anything inherently risky or dangerous about that tool that you just had in your hand?
Well, once again, ignorance is definitely the enemy. If I was untrained and I came into contact with a loaded firearm, yeah, there could be some negative outcomes. I could violate any one of a number of safety rules. Now, I've demonstrated for you a semi-automatic pistol. I also have another pistol, another handgun, which is of a different style. This is a Taurus revolver, and it's a little different than the semi-automatic. This revolver functions differently. It does not have a magazine. However, it does have an ammunition source. There is a cylinder release latch where if I was to engage it and then push the cylinder, then the cylinder would become available, and then each one of these cartridges, I could put a cartridge in each one of these uh, areas inside the cylinder, and then I could fully load the cylinder and then fold it back into the frame. It is a functioning firearm. It's currently not loaded, but like a semi-automatic pistol I just showed you a few moments ago, if you follow the same fundamental firearm safety rules, nothing negative or adverse can occur regardless of the style of the firearm. How you actually implement those safety rules may differ slightly due to the inherent differences of the two handguns, but fundamental firearm safety is the rule of the day. And of course, nothing negative or adverse could occur.
I'm sure in your many years of doing this, you've trained someone who's never fired a gun before, maybe even someone who's scared of guns, terrified of guns, maybe even someone who is against guns or against the Second Amendment. What is their reaction once they go through your course and once maybe they fire a gun for the first time? What's their emotional or even intellectual reaction to that?
You know, my favorite anecdote is one in which we had some visitors to a major firearm training event that I do for women every year for free of charge. And this one particular anti-gun person came to visit a friend from Chicago, which of course is notorious for numerous gun laws, many of which make absolutely no sense. But instead of staying at the friend's home that she was visiting, she reluctantly accompanied her friend to this free event that I do, in which we give a free range safety briefing. And she reluctantly participated. And what she found was that many of the things that she had heard about firearms were not true, that firearms were definitely a tool that could become useful in a wide variety of circumstances. She learned the parts that were most relevant to using the firearm. She used and did so safely. And as a matter of fact, after discharging the firearm, she actually had a lot of fun. She was actually proud of the outcomes, the placement of the bullet holes on the target. She had a lot of fun. And in just that one moment, we converted an anti-gunner with no practical handgun experiences to actually enjoy the art and the act of shooting.
And I would argue that's most people who would do exactly what go through your course would have that exact same experience. And I love that. Rick, I got one more minute here. What do you say to the people, you know, we look at our inner cities with a ton of crime, ton of violence, ton of murders, homicides with guns center. Chicago, you're in Detroit, same thing, all across the country. And the Democrats and anti-gun people's response is we need to make all these more gun laws, make guns illegal, blah, blah. You're doing the opposite, Rick. You're training people, you're selling guns presumably to more people. Why are you doing the opposite when so many people believe the problem are the guns?
Well, you know, I personally was a victim of crime, and I know how easy it is to be a victim. You merely have to be somewhere where a bad guy is, and then something negative can and will occur. Education is of the foremost importance. Training someone how to safely operate a firearm, it's not rocket science. It's very easy to do. As a former crime victim, I can tell you what the outcomes will occur when bad people with bad intentions are there. There is nothing inherently wrong or unsafe, you know, about being a lawful and safe operator of a firearm. If you have any questions, by all means, seek out a qualified and safe trainer with a history of safely educating the public as to how to use a firearm correctly.
Hey, Slater Crusaders, one of the absolute top priorities from the left, and they'll never stop, is to take away your Second Amendment right. They hate that you are able to protect your family and that you are responsible and that you are able to protect against a tyrannical government. I'm so sick of conservatives and Republicans pussyfooting on this issue. The reason for the Second Amendment is to protect against a potential tyrannical government. Period. End of story. Never back down on that argument. We have some amazing guests on our special about the Second Amendment. We'll analyze the latest Supreme Court ruling. We also have a firearms instructor who's going to help us walk through the parts of a gun, because there's people out there where guns are still scary, but they don't need to be. It's a tool just like any other tool. Arm yourself with the truth, with the facts, and with the First TV app. And you can download that for free at thefirsttv.com.